Well, ever seen some, let's say, lesbians in your life and wondered why they hate men so much? Well, here's the reason. They probably have a daddy issue. It's actually true. The person who made feminism, I made a YouTube video on that, she did not have a, let's say, dad figure in her life. She was raised by a single mother, and the name was Kate. You can search that video and find it. She hated men so much that she realized that, okay, my mom made it without a man, so we hate the men so much that we don't need them anymore. So we become either feminists or lesbians. And this is actually what's happening right now. Like the women, they become so pretentious, they become so negative. Not all of them, there are also good women everywhere. But the new kind of movement that is rising this kind of issue. And it's the problem is that if you go deep down and talk to them, they don't understand like the father of the family is supposed to protect the family. The guy is supposed to provide for the family, take care of everything, and be there to protect everything. But they don't have that figure in their life, and they're very stressed, and they hate that kind of feeling. So they have daddy issues, and they run to like monkey branching from one guy to another guy to get something out of these guys. And long term, they're going to end up like feeling lonely because let's be honest, after a while the prime of a woman is going to significantly drop after the age of 30 and no one is going to date them. So why do some relationships feel chaotic, intense, or even addictive? Why do certain people, regardless of gender, keep repeating the same patterns over and over again? Today we're actually talking about something deeper than the labels. We're talking about the attachment, the psychology, and the pattern that, silently shapes who we're attracted to and why. It's not about orientation, mate. Let's get one thing actually clear because I want you guys to be very transparent about these things. Whatever I say is backed by science. It's not my idea. It's absolutely the things that there is a huge kind of, let's say, proof for that. What matters is how people are wired emotionally. We are emotional creatures. We can introduce the idea of the attachment styles. Some people have avoidant attachments. They don't want the other person to be so much deep into their things because they want to go and explore. Imagine this, children that are being raised by the parent unconsciously are raised in an environment. If the parent, mom or dad, would allow the child to feel safe and secure and allow the child to explore, going with different kind of things, trying different things, when then that child is going to end up emotionally, let's say, more mature, and he doesn't need some people to rely on to feel fulfilled. So he can have the security and he can go out to explore, try new things. But if the feeling of mother and the child are so entangled, the mother is loving the child, okay, but she's making a child that is highly dependent on her. So she's basically like keeping someone highly dependent, not allowing that person to feel secure. This has happened many, many times in my life that I have seen. And it happened to one of my relatives that the mom and the daughter were so close that when the mother passed away, the daughter basically changed and I don't know, she had some, let's say, problems. She couldn't accept that she doesn't have her mother anymore. And this led to the fact that that woman never got married, she never had children, she never has this kind of things experienced in her life, which is a problem because the mom would like to take care of the child. I understand that, but you should understand when the kindness is too much, when there is a extraction that much, the child cannot go and explore and doesn't feel dependent, doesn't feel independent. It's like a very, very bad kind of scenario. So and in life, everything needs to have a find a balance, but it's easier said than done. And usually, there's not a clear balance in life because there's no clear thing where something ends and the other one begins. But the chaos would lead to some intensity, and your parents don't just raise you, they become your internal blueprint for love. The emotional absence, the physical absence. If your dad would like be inside the family and he would decide for some things, you feel that safety net and you feel that positive energy and you feel like, okay, that's a very good feeling to have a father in life. So if you don't feel seen as a child, you'll spend your life, your adult life, trying to be chosen, try to do something that you be impressing people, try to say that, well, I have done it. You can see a lot of people right now because they have a gap and try to fulfill it through different kind of things. Why some relationships feel intense, you might be curious. But look, intensity is not love. It's often instability disguised as a passion. So they have the push-pull dynamic. They have the high dopamine cycles. They have the toxic loops that feel exciting. They go through this kind of phases. But you know that the more unstable it is, the harder it is to walk away. And that's why you see a lot of people, let's say, trapped inside the toxic relationship and they don't want to go away because that's just, they're hooked right there. So today's world made everything actually worse, and I'm here to explain that for you, make sure you understand. You know, there are endless options at your fingertips that you can choose. And those options would lead you to dissatisfaction. Social media is the unrealistic kind of expectation that you see someone living a great life. You don't know what they did to get that, or if that's a real thing or that's just a fake idea. So all these things will cause you, let's say, some internal unhappiness, and you always want more to be validated. So when attention is unlimited, appreciation disappears. So the truth that no one actually tells you is that most people don't have bad luck in love. They have unconscious patterns they refuse to face, and people blame others instead of looking toward the mirror and repeating the same relationship with different faces. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are in life. You are who you are, and you attract people of the same vibe and energy. Your vibe is your tribe. That's the true kind of thing. So instead of asking, why are people like this? Ask yourself, why am I drawn to this? Because the moment you understand that, everything changes. You know, I would say it's a very interesting thing to understand because everybody would be looking at the world from their own lens. Like imagine these sunglasses would change the view of the person. So you should understand that there's no right and wrong. Maybe you're looking at it from a different perspective compared to the other person. Imagine the number 6. If we have the number 6 written on the ground and we have two people from either side looking at it, one would say this is 9, one would say this is 6, and they would have an argument. But you should understand that from their perspective, either one is correct. So in life, there are not one answer that is correct. There's not one size that fits all. There are many different things that simultaneously can be right, depending on the perspective that that other person has. And if you understand this, you're not going to argue with people. And if you see someone like you driving, perhaps someone is behind you trying to go, you can have this idea what a a-hole that person is. But if you think that maybe they have someone in a hospital that they need to go to, your reaction is going to be different. You're going to let them go. All I'm going to say, how does this relate to our topic, is that look, life is a beautiful journey. And other people have different kind of family. They were raised by different parents. They have different expectations. You don't know what kind of dad they had. You don't know what family they were raised in or what kind of sibling rivalry or family status they had. So if you all of a sudden put this person into another person's life as a, I don't know, as an intimate kind of relationship, as a partner, one is choosing the lifestyle of the other person. They're going to go like to the bed at the same time. They're going to wake up at the same time. They're going to probably have similar meals. They're going to go on similar vacations. So it's a really big thing because no one is exactly like the other person. And maybe there will be some conflicts. Maybe they don't really get along well at all. So there is a high chance of actually not working out, and they might get somewhere along the way they decide that this is not going to work out. That's why right now that you see, why do we have more, let's say, dissatisfaction in the relationships? Have you ever wondered? Like a few years ago, it was not like that. Right now, it is like that because there's a high expectation. Everyone has a very high expectation of, okay, the guy has to do these things, he has to do this kind of things, he has to check these boxes. All her friends would say, no, you deserve better than that. If you look at the thing that a woman sees on social media, she's being wired to want more in her life, which is not bad, but you see her post, her reels, everything would say consumerism. Go buy this kind of bag, get this, go that, get this dress. You deserve better than that. Let that guy go. You can do better. You can travel. You can do all these things. Freedom is your choice. And they're like liberalizing, making liberal the whole kind of generation, which to some extent is good enough, but the problem is that it's been exaggerated. And right now, these women, they're not loyal. They will not make a family. There are some exceptions, but if you compare it to the last decades, they would not stay with the other partner. So if you want to pick a partner, you should understand that there's a huge chance of actually not working out. And it's not on you. It's like the whole system and scenario is built in a way that is going to do it like that. And you might be thinking, why is the system made like that? Well, there are different reasons. The system would benefit from the bigger umbrella. Let's say the government has the idea of making more workers, making more people clock in and out to work. If they would come and say that out loud in a blank kind of idea, the ideology is going to be rejected and many people are not going to do it. So what they do is that they hire really good psychologists who understand how people would react to things. So they make these kind of ideas. They highlight them that, okay, how can we put this in everybody's lives? So through the phone that you hold, that you're watching this video, all those ideologies are being fed upon this kind of generation. So women and men, they see it as a gamified kind of glory on, let's say, the reels on social media, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on different kind of things, all this kind of platforms, on YouTube Shorts, and they feed that kind of idea and spike it like dopamine. So those people would be hooked to this. And that's the problem, I suppose. But comment down below what you guys think. Do you think that a lesbian clearly has a problem with a man figure in her life? Like she probably didn't have a proper dad? Do you think she likes men but she prefers women? Do you think that maybe there is a different kind of story right there? But somewhere along the way, something has happened that led to her choice. Because it's not a natural phenomenon that they would decide that they hate men, they like women, they prefer that. I understand that some people might prefer a different genitalia. But what I don't understand is that there has to be some kind of scenario in like the intimacy. Like there's going to be penetration. So if they prefer to use the fabric that is out of plastic instead of the real thing, then that's a little bit different. So why? Why do they do that kind of stuff? And it needs to be narrowed down and deeply, let's say, scrutinized, because this thing is not a common thing. But you see it day in and out all the time, is happening in front of you. And even in a scenario of two women being together, one is more masculine. She usually has shorter hair. She usually is more dominant and protective. And the other one is more submissive and feminine. Because you should understand that the, let's say, the dynamic of a relationship, if two persons are both dominant, they're going to have fight all the time. It's not going to work out. If two people are passive or, let's say, submissive, it's also not going to work out. Because one will say, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. It doesn't work out. They don't have that spike. So one needs to wear the big boys kind of pants. One needs to become submissive. It's like, even if you see like the married kind of couples, they do the role play. It's a very common thing. and like one needs to be more dominant, the other one less dominant, more submissive. So in the world we live in, it's not being usual kind of scenario where the men are masculine and the women are feminine. So we have a dominant figure and a submissive figure. It has shifted this and messed up the whole scale. Right now, the guy who would say these things would be tagged as a misogynist, would be tagged as an anti-feminist, would be tagged as a cancelled kind of person. But you should know that this has been a game that has made everybody less, let's say, successful, because we today look at what we have. We have men who are ashamed of being, let's say, men, who are really agreeable, who are losers, who cannot really opine or give their own opinion, and they're afraid. So they're like really submissive. They're like little boys. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, I don't know. And they're like that. And we have women who are trying to, let's say, fabricate some confidence to become dominant, which is like both of them are not at the right place in a dynamic of a relationship. So both would be less satisfied with their life. So chances of a proper kind of friendship or relationship or marriage or having children. I mean, imagine if these people have children. How messed up is that child going to be because they don't know how to properly like train that person or treat that person. This is a huge phenomenon, issue that we're facing, and it kind of makes me sad that we have to see this kind of things day in and out, and still we see a lot of people talking about this kind of issues. I like Jordan Peterson. He's an amazing guy. He doesn't judge anything. He would just put it out very nicely, very clearly about all these things and phenomena. And these things need to be, let's say, analyzed psychologically, because you see a person, you don't know their story, you cannot judge a book based on the cover. Maybe that person is a great person, but in her life, somewhere something happened that changed the perception. So they are doing what they're doing because of a feedback they got somewhere, but it was like the parents, the way they actually treated him, or a toxic relationship person, or somewhere in the life something would shape. It's like the journey that shapes us. Going from point A to point B, you will change on the way. 10 years from now, you watch this video again, you gotta get some new ideas out of it. Because you see and you get what you like. You're not gonna get what you don't like. Imagine this. If you like a red car, if you be walking out in the street, you gotta notice that there are a lot of red cars. Because you notice that. You decided to see that. But if you decide to, I don't know, see the guys who are wearing the suit, you look for that, you search for that, and you find that. So it's about what you see, and in life you get what you see. Because if you try to go on a ski, the first lesson they're going to teach you is that don't look at the trees, because if you look at the trees, you're going to go to the trees. Look at the road, focus on the path, and the problems are going to be solved. In life, do you look at the obstacles? The obstacles are going to be bigger, so it's going to be difficult to go through. Do you look at the path? Because if you look at the path, you can maneuver over and find it out some way, somehow. But if you only look at the obstacles in life, it's going to be really difficult to get through, because there's a high chance of that thing standing between you and your goal. So what I realized is that a lot of people would use this and broaden their vision and make a lot of better kind of results out of their life. So again, no judgment. We don't know their stories, that's true. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think, because I'm also curious to know your ideas. And I would appreciate to see what you guys think. If you feel like this channel is interesting to you, give us a subscribe. We appreciate it. We have a goal of increasing our subscribers. And like the video, is free for you guys, but it can really help us, let's say, and the algorithm to understand our good work, and we can grow the channel even further on. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Comment down below what you guys think about this video and which parts do you agree or disagree with. It's okay. No judgment. You can disagree also all you want.